over 120 videos on my YouTube channel, I thought it would be fun to just take you back a little bit and let you know a bit about my story and how I started working as a virtual assistant for therapists in private practice. I'm hoping in December I can throw a few extra videos in that's just a little bit more personal, a little bit more behind the scenes. I really like my videos to be high value and something that therapists in private practice or even other virtual assistants that want to work with therapists in private practice will find useful and can take things from. But I know from the people that I follow, either by listening to podcasts or watching YouTube videos, that it's really nice to understand where they started and how they got where they are. So I thought I'd do that as well. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kim. I help therapists in private practice with their business systems and processes, getting them confident with admin and reducing tech overwhelm. I recorded this video a few weeks ago, so my hair has actually changed, but I didn't give it a proper intro, so I wanted to just jump on and give it a little intro. So we'll jump straight to that video now, and just want to say thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate every one of you that tunes in to my videos on a weekly basis. I really do appreciate your support. So I'm going to rewind a whole decade and tell you kind of my story of how I got to where I am. Hopefully it's also going to have some lessons in there for you as well, so it's not just all about me. So I'm just going to get comfy. So 10 years ago I had my son, and I have always worked in logistics. So I worked for a company that delivered vending machines and other things as well. But that's how I really got started, and I kind of fell into that job. I was taking a gap year between college and university, and I worked for this company until I went to university. Went to university, and my dad unfortunately died in the first year that I was at university, and I just found it really hard being there, and also wanted to help my mum out financially. So I came home and got that job back and basically just worked my way up. I changed my job practically every year because I was highly ambitious and just really enjoyed what I was doing, but I get bored really easily. Fast forward, I was an operations manager for our depot in Heathrow, and got pregnant with my son, and I just didn't want to go back. I remember the week before like my return day, and I just cried every single day. And it was really weird for me because I am a really ambitious person. I love working, but I just felt this pull that I really wanted to just be with my son. I just felt like I'm only going to get this chance once, and I really just wanted to be with him. So on the day I was due to go back, I drove into work, cried the whole way there. And then my colleague said to me that they were making redundancies, a lot of them. And I saw this as my opportunity to take redundancy. I'd worked for the company for a really long time, and there'd been lots of like mergers and things like that. So all the people that worked there senior had no idea who I was. I'd taken 6 months off. All of the managers kind of had left that were my people. And so all of the top people, they had no idea who I was. So when I went in there, they had the view that they were going to see if I wanted redundancy. I really wanted redundancy. So I walked in there and just said, I know you're making lots of people redundant. Could I be one of them? And because they had no idea who I was or what I was doing, they said yes, which was great. So I rang my husband and told him like what had happened. I hadn't even discussed it with him that I was going to ask for redundancy. It was like a complete off the cuff, motherly, I don't know, instinct. I just did it. But he was fine with it anyway, so that was lucky. And yeah, so I left, and a couple of weeks later they rang me up, and the redundancy had gone through. I'd had my payout if it was really quick, but they asked me if I'd come back and said that the person that had taken over from me had quit, that he only wanted to do it whilst I was on maternity leave, and when he found out I wasn't coming back, he'd walked out, and they didn't know how to run the department. So I thought about it and said, no, I don't want to come back. And they were like, well, literally do whatever you want. You can work whatever hours you want as long as the job gets done. So I said to them, okay, I will work 3 days part-time. I'll make sure everything's done and figure it out, but that's what I want to work. And they said, fine. And I said, and I want my full-time wage to do it. And they said, fine, because I thought I have nothing to lose. So I did that for nearly a year. It took them nearly a year to find my replacement and for me to train them up. I trained up several people, but they kept getting the wrong kind of person, which I told them. Anyway, long story short, long story long even. And So anyway, it was the first time I'd ever thought about working self-employed and being able to be contracted and not have a full-time job. But I didn't think too much of it because I had my son and I thought I'll go back to work eventually. Then I met my now best friend, and she was a therapist in private practice, and she told me about her business and that she was just struggling with the admin side, and did I want some extra money to kind of help her out. So I wasn't really doing much at the time. I'd finished that contract with my old employer, and so I said yes, I would help her. So I did her bookkeeping, I did her invoicing, and eventually I did more and more and more for her, and now kind of run her practice from the admin point of view. And so I did that for a little while. I can't remember all the timelines, but I did that for a little while. And then she introduced me to someone. I started working for him. And then she introduced me to someone else and I started working for her. And this was 2019. So in 2019, I started working for Tamara Howell, and she is a therapist in private practice. So that's what she did. I helped her with her practice at the beginning, doing her invoicing and things like that. But she also had an online business of selling paperwork, and she had an online course called Learn to Love Online Therapy, where she taught therapists how to work online. And it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that you could work online and earn money. Like, you didn't have to be just a service provider. You didn't have to just, get paid what they say, trade money for hours or something, trade hours for money, something like that. There was other ways you could earn money, and I did not know that at that point until I met her. And then the pandemic hit, and I'd had my daughter by this point too, so I now have 2 children. And the pandemic hit and everyone went online, and that was such a massive turning point for my business, because I'm really good at tech. I'm really good with systems and things like that. And therapists generally aren't. That some of them obviously are. That's just, I'm literally generalizing, but they don't usually like the admin side of their practice, and they're not that techy. So it was really tricky for them to move from like face-to-face working to online working and be able to send their clients paperwork and get paid and things like that. So my business really took off at that point, and I hired people to work for me so that I could have more clients, and that they could, the other VAs could see the clients. So that's how I really grew my agency. So I now have a VA agency, and I had people working for me, and I was growing that side of the business really easily and naturally. It was just referrals. I wasn't really doing, from my memory, much like social media or anything like that. It was just referrals, which is great. And I think actually referral kind of marketing is one of the best ways to build up your business if you're just starting out, because it's more natural and there's no kind of selling involved. There's no persuading someone to work with you because somebody has referred you. So it's kind of like done deal. I don't remember really having an interview with anyone other than Tamara. She did interview me, but other than Tamara, I don't really remember I didn't have like an interview or anything with any of my clients, which is great. People just wanted to work with me because their friends and colleagues gave them that good referral. So as I was growing that side of the business, I'd really developed a kind of formula for how I wanted to work with therapists. And my kind of stipulation is that they had to use the systems that I believed in. So that's Google Workspace and Power Diary. So Google Workspace as like a starting point if you're a brand new therapist, or if they like have a small practice, then running your practice on Google Workspace works totally fine. If they had a bigger, busier practice, then they would need an EHR, which is an electronic health record system. And my preferred one is Power Diary. So I didn't see the point in learning all these different systems and working with all these different therapists in different ways. It made no sense to me. So I said to everybody, if you want to work with me, these are the systems that I will work on. And I developed an online setup so that I could set up these systems for them, and then in turn, that also created SOPs, which is standard operating procedures for their business, and help them streamline, automate, and just get their practice in order, basically. So I wasn't just taking on mess. I was sorting things out and making it all like good for them, and then working for them. And it saves them money in the long run as well, because, I'm not doing all this stuff that doesn't need to be done. So in 2023, I had 5 people working for me on the agency. and two of them unexpectedly left. So one of them left, and one of them kind of ghosted me after something happened in her personal life, and I kind of never heard from her again and still haven't. And the other one was working for me part-time, and she had a part-time job, and her part-time job offered her a full-time job, which she decided to take. So completely understand, she did not ghost me, and she gave me notice and everything, but it left me with 7 clients and no VA, because between these two VAs, they had 7 clients. And that was really, really difficult, because the only person that could really take that on was me. And it was probably the hardest time in my life business wise. When that happened, I was in a really bad state for the first quarter of 2023, just trying to sort everything out. I had to let clients go, and I decided not to take on more VAs and grow my agency because of this exact thing. I didn't want this happening again. I didn't want somebody having the power to leave me in the shit, basically. So instead, I'd been ruminating on licensing my business. So instead of taking on VAs into my business as associates, I would train them up and license all of my processes, systems, all that kind of stuff, train them how to work with therapists in private practice the exact way that I do it, and then have a directory listing on my website so that therapists that see my YouTube videos, my social media, get referrals to me. They can see, okay, well, Kim doesn't work with anyone day to day anymore, but she has a list of VAs that are trusted by her, that she has trained up and certified, so that we will work with them. And then the benefit for the VAs is that they get 100% of the revenue. So I'm not even really a middle person. It's just they come to my website, pick the person they want to work with, and they can work with that person. And it's completely like their relationship. It's nothing to do with me, other than the fact that I have trained VAs and that they have a licensing agreement with me. So that was a very long story. Tried to condense, I don't know how long this is, maybe 10-15 minutes, trying to condense it really quickly. But just some takeaways for you from this whole story is, one, you have to do what's best for you in any given moment. So when I went to work, I knew it wasn't right in my soul. I knew going back to work and leaving my son to be in childcare just wasn't right for me. Now, I'm not saying that that's what everybody should do. I'm just saying, for me, I knew that that was the right step. And did it help my career? Of course, it would have helped in my career. I was, climbing up the ladder in like a corporate world, so to speak. And that's what I thought I wanted. But it gave me a whole new perspective of working, and having a child to me was so important that I was there for them. My child also has additional needs. I'm not going to go into what they are, but because that's his journey, not mine. But I just knew that I needed to be there for him more and more flexibly than I would if I had a job. So that's why working for myself just has worked out so beautifully and perfectly. Even when the pandemic hit, I was able to homeschool him in the morning and work in the afternoon, and sometimes in the evening. Don't get me wrong, when you're building a business, you do have to hustle. That I don't actually think there's any other way around it. You do have to hustle a little bit in the beginning. And that's not to say I'm not hustling out, because I probably am still, but I love my work, so it doesn't seem like a huge burden to me. The second lesson is to believe in yourself. I definitely did not believe in myself at the beginning. I worked for many years for my friend and the other therapist, and maybe even when I worked for Tamara. And I remember going on holiday with my friend, and we met these 2 girls, and they asked us what we did. So my friend, really proudly said, I'm a psychotherapist and I work in private practice. And I said, oh, I do her admin. She hit me on the arm and was like, what are you talking about? You've got your own business, big it up. Why are you saying that? But I just felt like it was just, I don't know, a hobby. I didn't think it was something I was ever going to earn a decent amount of money from. And I just didn't have the belief in myself that I could run a business. So that's my second tip, is believe in yourself, and anything is possible. If you want to work as a VA and start your own business and also be there for your kids and drop them off at school and pick them up, you absolutely can do that. You can. My third tip is to be really good at what you do. It's all well and good being on YouTube or on social media, giving tips and spouting advice and stuff like that. But if you are not good at your job, the actual thing you're getting paid for, if you're not good at it, nobody is going to want to work with you and no one is going to refer to you. So you have to get really good at what you do so that your clients are happy and stay with you. So just for context, I've never had a client leave my business. I've had to let clients go, as I told you. I've never had somebody leave my business, nobody. And I do believe that is because I'm good at what I do. I'm honest. The people I hire, I train really well, and they're also really good at what they do. So there's that like respect and trust there. So you need that first. You have to be good at what you do. You need to train. You need to learn. I am learning all the time. I'm still taking online courses. I'm in memberships. I follow people that aren't in my business to learn other skills, like presenting skills or social media skills, like things that aren't in my wheelhouse, but things that I need to learn. So always be a student and be good at what you do. That's probably two different sections, but they kind of intertwine. So I really hope you found this video useful. Until next time, thanks so much for watching.